Whether in person or in the media, we hear messages like these all the time. While the church has plenty of flaws, we have experienced it very differently. For many of us, the church has been a place of community, of support, of love, of service. It's a place we have heard good news about a God who loves us and desires full, abundant lives for us. It's a community in which God shapes us to be and do more than we can alone. The world is changing. The church is changing too.
Start a fire in my soul, fan the flame and make it grow, so there's no doubt or denying. Let it burn so brightly that everyone around can see that it's you that we need. Start a fire in me. You only need a spark.
These churches were birthed in a different era, in a time when you could build it and they will come. And I think that caused us to be a little bit too comfortable with what it meant to be church in the neighborhood. And we assumed as long as we were there, people would come to us. And so when I think about doing church in a new way, I think it calls us really to be disciples in the way we see in the Gospels, where we have to get up and get out and go connect with our neighbors.
Things change. And as our culture has changed and as we have become a more diverse culture and as we've become a culture where people tend to be feel less obligated perhaps to be a part of a church, we've had to reevaluate where we're at as the church, what it means to be church in terms of making a difference in the lives of real people.
Our experience is that the way we've done church in the past does not seem to be connecting with lots of people anymore. We hear it all the time from our own communities, from our neighborhoods, from our friends, that kind of the model that grew up in the world that we had in the 50s and 60s and 70s, the world has changed. People's lives have changed, and yet God is still at work.
Let it burn so brightly that everyone around can see that it's you that we need. Start a fire in me.
I think being church is about people, rather than a building. It's about a community of people who are devoted to following Jesus, to serving each other, and to serving their community, and to serving the world.
We use language of being the church because we believe the church is, as Jesus said in the Gospels, the body, His body, the body of Christ.
Being church is a way to remind us that faith isn't a private issue. It's not just about me. It's not just about how it is with my soul today. It's really about how am I connected to this community of disciples.
Thank goodness, probably in the last 30 years, the church has moved away from the idea of associating itself as a building and instead describing itself as a community of people called together for the purpose of changing the world around them.
Around can see that it's you that we need. Start a fire in me. You are the fire, you are the flame, you are the light on the darkest day.
We think that as 8 churches acting in the world together, we've got some opportunities to look into our neighborhoods and say, how can we create some unique spaces and occasions and systems by which people can come together, learn to know one another, share their gifts and experiences across some of the lines that sometimes we've let divide us.
Each of our congregations are doing amazing ministry on their own, but we realize that there's so much more that we can do when we work together.
We believe we can do more and be more in our communities if we collaborate, if we bring our resources together, if we bring our ideas and our imaginations together, if we bring our people together and get to know one another and get to know each other's neighborhoods.
Together, we believe that we can share resources in such a way, whether it's staff, whether it's money, whether it's buildings, whether it's simply doing work together in such a way that there's more energy, that we can accomplish things we can't do as individual congregations.
This world can be cold and bitter. Feels like we're in the dead of winter, waiting on something better. But
If our focus is only on our own congregation, our own selves, we get turned inward, and we lose sight of that larger vision, that larger mission of the church.
The world sounds like a pretty big place for our little congregations to be doing things together. But the world outside our doors is where God calls us.
When we hear a passage like John 3:16 that you see on bumper stickers or other people, "For God so loved the world," kind of one of the first thoughts is, then if this is the God that we follow, then we should so love the world.
And what Jesus did for the sake of the world. And if we're going to take Jesus' commandment seriously, that means we express our love for one another for the sake of the world. That what we do out there has ripple impacts, that my care for my neighbor will impact how that neighbor then goes out and cares for their neighbor, and it just ripples out into the whole world.
We don't exist to serve our own needs. We don't exist, even when it comes down to it, to serve our own communities. Yes, we do serve our communities inside our congregations and outside our congregations, but the gospel of Jesus Christ is good news for the entire world.
We bear your name, we carry the news that you have come to save. Only you can save.
In any one congregation, you've got all kinds of people with different needs, different hopes, different dreams, different skills and gifts, and you have to find a way to work together.
Being united in one spirit means that we're really all addressing the same issues and behind the same concept of the gospel as well.
Start a fire in my soul, fan the flame and make it grow.
We are called to be neighbor to neighbor, church to church, because we can't do this on our own. And so we live in community. We are neighbors and we are friends only after we get to know one another.
I think that connecting neighbor to neighbor, connecting church to church, it's about forming relationships. It's about realizing that we need each other. Nobody is an island. Nobody can survive and thrive on their own, and that applies to individual people as well as to congregations. But we need these relationships. We thrive as followers of Jesus, as people of God, when we have relationships with other people.
So there's no doubt or denying. Let it burn so brightly that everyone.
We're rediscovering some of the roots of what it means to be Christian by recognizing in each other's communities that there are things we should be sharing.
The gift of Wildfire is that we can be more than we are today, and discover a mission that we haven't even thought about before.
Maybe we're going to be sharing resources. Maybe we will share people. Maybe we will share ideas and ministry. We don't know yet.